Hi, I'm Paul from Outlier. I'm one of the creators of Mars Attacks. Welcome to our very first devlog video. If you haven't seen it already, then Mars Attacks is a park management game where you play as the Martians from Mars Attacks, abducting humans from throughout history to serve as the star exhibits within your park. In this series, we're going to be showing you what it's like behind the scenes of a professional-ish game dev studio. You'll get to see at the very first prototype of the build, all the way through to the version that we'll be sharing at Gamescom, or how the trailer came into fruition and the special effects and audio that go alongside that. The intention is to give you a warts and all look at a small studio building a game out of passion. The feedback that we get from players, both in terms of the videos that you'd like to see and also the content of the game itself, is really, really valuable. So we're looking for suggestions, ideas that we can claim as our own as we develop the game and make the best possible experience for fans of the strategy genre. So hit the subscribe button to join us on this adventure, and don't forget to give the game a wishlist on Steam. All the links are in the doobly-doo. Mars Attacks is a theme park building game where you play as the Martians from Mars Attacks. It's really built for fans of the strategy management genre with a depth of systems that allow you to manage every individual element of your park. So the idea was really to bring the best of the management and simulation genre together with the darkness and humor that's really built into this iconic IP that we're all huge fans of. And that really made us reminisce about games that we used to play as kids, so like Team Hospital, Dungeon Keeper, Evil Genius, and bring that tone back to the simulation genre. So this is the very first prototype of Mars Attacks. It's not much to look at, but generally how we start a project is we talk about the various areas of inspiration and what are the most fun elements of the games that really inspire us, but also what's new and unique that we can bring to the genre. Then I tend to disappear into my programming hidey hole and reappear a month or so later with something like this, which is the very first playable build, just to get a feel of what the game might look like. With the very first prototype, I'm really just trying to build the foundations of the content within the game. So that might be the construction mechanics, so players can build structures or drag walls or paths, or the AI for the characters, so they will navigate the park and visit stalls, whether that might be the wagons which are stand-in for drinks or food stalls at the moment, or view a human within an enclosure. I've also got some basic camera controls in here, although they're very janky to start with on the prototype. But this is actually a really important element to get the feel of the game. The camera perspective dictates how the player views the world, and also at later stages will influence how we design art assets. Even at this very early stage, the characters within the park have a AI system made up of all of their needs and wants, so that could be hunger or rest or comfort, and those are displayed to the player within the menu as well. That's such a critical part of the strategy and simulation genre, the depth of systems, that we really wanted to get that sense in at the earliest possible stage. The UI that we have at this stage is very basic, and you can see there's lots of missing sprites or stand-in elements, but it allows me as a developer to experience the game as a player. And really that sense of how you will interact with the game influences the design decisions that come down the road. And the UI went through multiple iterations from this very basic starting point to the final version that we've got in game today. You can see here that there are floating pop-up panels that appear as players click on the different menus, and that's actually something that we revisited later on and switched to a single point of focus. That has a number of advantages. Firstly, it avoids any potential kind of overlapping or conflicting user interface, but also, for example, for console, the flow of a menu when controlling with a gamepad is completely different to mouse and keyboard. We're now looking at a more advanced prototype where we've built out a few more of the systems. The characters in the park now have a slightly more advanced version of the AI, and they will go to stalls, amenities, and benches and so on to satisfy their various needs. On top of that, we're layering on a system of thoughts, so they have a memory of what they did and if they liked it or not, and also financial management, so they will transact with vending machines or stalls and keep track of how much they might have in their wallet. At this stage in the prototype, you can see we're starting to add in a few decorative elements. So, for example, just the base Martian coloured floor and a few rocks. We were originally thinking of having each park enclosed within a big dome structure that the Martians have built. But later on in development, after exploring a few visual ideas, decided that it was easier to add more character and potentially also more variation if we had open air enclosure. That does, of course, raise the question of how the humans breathe, but we'll leave that for space magic for now. This is one of the later stage prototypes, which is just before other members of the team come in and join to help improve the UI and the art assets. So at this stage, it's still very much my baby, and you can see the UI has come on slightly, but it's still a kind of placeholder programmer art type interface, though by integrating new icons and the flow updates mean that it makes it much easier to replace those with final assets down the line. One of the key learnings from our previous game, This Means Warp, which we kind of learned the hard way, is to prototype with temporary assets a lot and really get the feel of the systems down before exploring the art side or even the polished UI. At this stage, we also built in systems for how the player visualizes information within the park. So, for example, how clean a path is or how much an enclosure exudes Romanness. So these are really important elements to think about as a designer, how to get that information across to a player in a clear way. So that's a really quick look at the first prototype of Mars Attacks. It doesn't look like much now, but as the weeks and months go on, then different members join the team, bring in art assets or sound effects or different UI, and really build out the game that we know today, and we're excited to show to you soon. If you're interested in following along the development of the game, then please click the subscribe button and give the game a wishlist on Steam. Look forward to seeing you soon.